Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Back we have James Nicola, our resident, poet. I would say, how many years has it been since you've been coming here, James? Welcome.
Since 2014 or 15. Thank you, Jan. So nice to be here. Hi, everybody.
Was it just before we moved here to this studio?
Yeah, the first time I was down the street. I know that.
The years
right.
go by?
Yeah.
James came in from New York, and you're temporarily staying where right now?
In Wayland, Massachusetts, and then my brother, who lives just north of Hartford now. So.
He's got a new book out.
Right.
Surprise, surprise. Turns and Twists. Did you design the cover?
I went online looking for photographs and gave a sampling to the publisher, and that was my number 2 choice. My publisher's number 1 choice, and it's of real trees that grow like that outside in Poland.
Yeah,
you'll see the credit inside when you look at the book, Paul.
That's a great picture.
That just happened to be.
Happened to be like that.
That happened to be like that.
That's an excellent picture of you. Was that taken near Central Park?
No, near 10th Avenue at a park, but where the cherry blossoms were out in May.
That's a great picture.
Happened to be walking with a photographer, and she took a picture, and I'm so happy.
She did it.
Yeah.
You have the author of 6 collection of poetry, 6 books. I thought you had more than that.
That's the 7th.
Yeah.
And upcoming are the 8th and 9th.
So I remember Stage to Page.
That's right. That's the 2nd.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Now this is the new one. When did this come out?
Just this year. Just brand new. Months ago.
During you were here during. Well, it wasn't the height of the COVID, but you came because our furniture was turned around.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the 6th book, Fires of Heaven. We talked about that one, right?
What about doing the stage directing back then? Did you kind of stay away from it? Did they close that down?
Yeah, there was virtually none in the country. There were no live. We were shut down.
Yeah.
So there were. All the theater in this country was closed. But Shakespeare had that happen a few times for the plague in his day, but it just lasted a season.
Yeah.
When they closed them. Ours is
ongoing.
Okay. This is an odd disease.
Well, we can't wait for you to start reading. Share some of your poems.
I'm going to read the very first poem to start, and of course it's turns and twists. So something's turned and something's twisted. So of course the very first poem is called Endings.
Okay.
And you forget the turn and the twist just in the title. Endings. It's going to happen in a certain way, though what it is or what its way is, we don't know. And those who do know will not say. Nor do we know how many there might be who know. I get the feeling, though, that they would like to tell us and are trying to warn us, so that with an unknown wisdom we might help ourselves adjust a few of our habits, thoughts, values. What I do cannot prevent it. That's the way it is. That's all. But I'll have that much less to rue, and might, with luck, just manage to delay it so that I might have this time with you.
That is amazing. You know what that makes it sound like? Were you thinking about a possible world war coming up or stuff like that?
Something that some nameless speaker has to warn us about.
Yeah.
And I don't say too much more, but trying to evoke that kind of thing, whether the speaker is from the other side, a dead person, a spirit, an angel, or a poet who tries to summon that kind of insight or vision or wisdom, etc. But the wisdom is fleeting, so that with an unknown wisdom.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
James, I think we talked about this before, but as a kid, were you a poet too?
I had my first poem, and I just had an interview published from southern Worcester County that did the poetorium. Now it's the Imaginarium, and I'm going to be the guest on the poetorium next April, on the 4th Thursday of April. Yep. So I'll be live there, and they just published an interview, so you can look it up under Poetorium or Imaginarium. And I actually talk about this. First poem was the first poem published in Worcester, the Telegram and Gazette, in support of a zoo. Yeah. And it was 2nd grade, I remember that. Whether I was 6 or 7, I don't know, because I was 6, turned 7 during 2nd grade. So that, can you believe?
Yeah.
As a kid, you see your poem published in the paper.
After you got out of high school, what did you do?
A whole bunch of stuff. I was a musical director,
Yeah.
and then turned into a director. Also composer, lyricist, not famous, not lucrative,
Yeah.
but some grants and some shows.
This all just kind of evolved from the time you were a kid. All
Yeah,
this
but I was
talent.
a science and math geek also. I could have gone into anything. And I'm turned on by so much stuff. It's a strength and a flaw. So I just love everything and knowledge and different fields, and just the world's such an interesting place, and all the human endeavor.
You're an entrepreneur at heart, too, right? You try to like get out by yourself and do things.
Yes, but not an entrepreneur where money matters too much. Unfortunately, I'm not I'm not that much of a. I don't need stuff.
Yeah.
I'm the happiest person I know, and I'm not actually rich technically, but I am rich in friends and
Yeah,
rich in joy.
definitely. All right,
You know.
read us another one.
Another one. This is
Which page are you on?
now I'm on page 18.
Okay.
And this is inspired, I can parse this a little bit, by a Carolyn Mace video. She's a healer and an actual doctor, as well as a chakra person. And she was on PBS years ago when I needed her with her videos, and talked about prayer can actually do something. She talked about documented cases of somebody in a coma recognizing somebody that sent them a prayer once, passing it. And so this is called The Shortest Distance. The shortest distance between two people is prayer. You might have thought it should be love. Think, horse-drawn carriages making a trip have broken down, nags crumbled, fallen, died for trysts, but send prayer overseas without even a postage stamp affixed. You know that it arrives there instantly. The technique works best when the expectations humble, but the sentiment sincere.
That's very close to something I've learned. Try to keep your expectations. Don't look for too much. You have, I don't know how to say it. Don't try to be too controlling of what happens. But the expectation. How did you get inspired for this?
Again, by that Carolyn Mace
By her,
episode.
yeah.
And then for years, therefore, anytime I hear a siren from my balcony in 43rd, I just, whoever's heard, I hope they do. I just send good wishes out. Whether they do anything, I have no idea. But I just do a little, I hope they're fine. I hope they'll be fine. I hope the ambulance gets there in time. Not that it's going to do any good, but I heard that one story about somebody who was in a hospital and somebody came to visit one in the next bed and wait a second, you have a whatever car, and you came into my Volkswagen when I was comatose from an accident. They recognized somebody. So we have the Horatio in Hamlet line. Hamlet says there are more things in heaven and earth that are dreamt of in your Horatio that are dreamt of in your philosophy. Philosophy being the scientific study.
You've got
of
a
the
mind
world.
that goes.
I don't really know the exact quote, but and it's about Shakespeare alluding to knowledge of whether it's the occult or magic things or ghosts, because it's ghosts in Hamlet.
We're talking with James Nicola.
Yeah.
And James, how can they reach you if they'd like to get your books or have you come and speak?
Yes, my email is nicolajamesb@juno.com. I also have a website, but email is the best right now.
That's the best.
nicolajamesb@juno.com.
That's Nicole.
Nicola
Oh, yeah, okay.
JAMESB
Got
at
it.
Juno, JUNO.
On Juno.
Juno like the goddess.
Okay.
Okay, I'm turning to page 36.
Okay, we're jumping ahead. All right.
This is also a sonnet, like the first one, Endings was. Meaning,
Okay.
Just meaning it's 14 lines.
Oh, the process of sleep.
And this is a little bit, again, turns and twists, you'll see. The process of sleep. I went to bed with a problem last night, which had been waggling at my brain all day. I could only come up with two half-right solutions. Neither one went all the way. But I was worn and weary, so I slept, during which time one part of me kept working. Or must have, though I did not dream, except of waking this morning to coffee perking, and it is perking. That's one dream come true. And now this third solution's come to me. I test it, and it works the whole way through. Last night I could not, but today I see. What mystery that lends the dark a light, and mornings sometimes such a burst of sight.
That is so. Do you have a background also in like haiku?
I do plenty of haiku. Yeah, it's not my number one thing, but it's also a wonderful exercise, and I had this in a library workshop once years ago in New York. You think of a poem, do the haiku version in roughly 17 syllables, or you do the long version, they can now try that same inspiration or the same poem in 17 lines. And it's sort of like the famous lighting design course, the Nicola course at Yale Drama School. You have this short play, a one-act play, but you have one light bulb.
Yeah.
And maybe it's even one like you light that. Then you do now 2 light bulbs, 2 light that, etc. And you go on and on to figure out what's essential to the piece of art by starting and then building and etc. So that's a
This
interesting
poem,
thing.
The Process of Sleep, that you just read, do you ever find that I could wake up and I can write down visually exactly what I saw? Can you do that too?
No, but sometimes. I used to not remember dreams, except very few childhood dreams that I could list until I took a course at Clark, when I was at Clark University, and we had to, on poetry, and we had to write down a dream if we had one. And I wrote down a dream because I had a big violent dream while I was taking a course where one of the assignments was to write a dream, and I still remember it, and I wrote it all down and brought it into class to see if it could.
And you went to Clark, so did my grandfather.
I went to Clark and then transferred to Yale, as you might recall. But I left Clark for 2 years and then Yale for 2 years, loved them both. It was exactly the right thing for me. I would have got swallowed up.
He was there a lot earlier than you. In 1908, he was the class up, so he was way ahead of you.
Yeah.
Way.
Oh, he was there when if he was class of 1908, he saw Freud speak probably.
Yeah.
That was 1906 or 5. Or, the picture of Freud, Jung, and the president of Clark in all the Psych 101 books. That's a famous event, Clark University. One of the many things Worcester area can be proud of.
It used to be a lot nicer back in the 1900s down that area. It's so different now. Actually, the campus is beautiful. It's just when you get to South Main, it's like, oh.
Yeah, well, it was slightly dicey when I was there too, but people live there. During the day, people live there.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm turning to page 41, At a Mirror. At a Mirror on page 41.
All right.
So imagine that I'm looking into a mirror, or I'm telling you about looking into a mirror at a mirror. When I turned to him, he wouldn't turn away. So I decided, why not trust him? Why not talk to him? He seemed a little shy, a little brazen, I can't really say. But he could look directly in my eyes, not flinching, and appeared content to stay as long as needed. Now, how many guys have you known like that? Too few, right? One day, I had a secret to confide. I drew a little nearer, ready to start in, but at the same time, he came toward me, too. And so I waited for him to begin until a mist between rose suddenly, as breath, dissolving him, absolving me.
Did this really get inspired from looking in a mirror?
And getting closer, and your breath goes in, and pretending that the person, like in Edgar Allan Poe or in a horror story, pretending that there's a soul inside the image in the mirror, not just the mirror. And pretending, what if, and having a conversation with yourself and thinking, what if that's your doppelganger? I have another one called Doppelganger right around here, which I won't read today. But what if that's captured the light of? What if that has its own integrity? Your image in a mirror. And then I thought of somebody seeing a mirror for the first time ever, like in the Greek myths. When
how many of these do you pump out in one day? You are brilliant.
Oh, this is many years of writing, but I do a lot of rewriting too. And that's all. Those are all from part 1. So that's the most twistiest riddles and enigmas and whatever.
Turns and Twists, his latest book. But hang on, we're going to talk about what else is coming up.
Yes.
All right, teacher, which page?
Page 49. Now it's part 2.
Okay.
And this was inspired in an answer to so many questions of why don't you travel with a palm pixel thing? And I don't. People have given me. They're too small for me, as well as I don't want to turn into a pixel person. I have other poems about that, but this is called "The Roar of Grass." And think if you've ever heard the roar of grass, what that could mean. That's part of the riddle of the poem. The roar of grass. The reason I do not, indeed cannot, walk God's earth, looking down at the adjustment of my hand, laden by a palm-sized plate with lights and letters on it, that once I heard the roar of grass, and am convinced that such a thing might happen yet again. even where there's no grass, like in a store or office tower, elevator bank, or on a train or plane or boat, or in a crowd or some such seemingly ungreen sight, which sure as hell I wouldn't want to miss, so I keep my eyes and ears held close and open, as it was on that August day with you, when we lay on the tickling grass and kept one ear to it, the other to the sky, and our eyes on each other, and there was such a roar.
I can picture the whole thing. You lay there on the grass, and there is like a nature thing going on.
And just look at each other and laugh for no reason. And
Yeah.
we did that as kids all the time. Wachusett Meadow, in the middle of nowhere, a town,
Yeah.
common green, or a common in Connecticut, or a common in Massachusetts, or a green in Connecticut. You just go with somebody, you lay in the grass, look at everything, and somebody either says something and you laugh. And that, believe it or not, because I don't, every once in a while it happens in an elevator or a boat, or just, when you're
Yeah.
traveling, and you talk through someone on a cell phone, and then they talk to you, and then laughter. And or joy or friendship or other things happen. This is too sad for me.
You have a cell phone, though. Well, how
Yes,
did
but
you
I don't
email?
use it. I don't travel.
But
It's
how
in-
did you
it's in the
email
box.
me?
Oh, downstairs in the library.
Oh, okay. You got on one of their computers.
I got on one of the things.
How
I said,
cool is that?
Yeah.
So you don't. Have you ever seen people at a restaurant sitting at the same table, going like this? What?
I would become. I could understand becoming that because you feel alive, but it's actually not social media. It's
No.
asocial media.
You're not even looking at the person sitting at the table with you.
Right,
What's
and
the point?
conversation and being there for each other is so
Oh.
important. And to a certain extent, to me, I don't want to be someone that when someone's in the middle of talking to me and needful, and I don't know they're needful, then I get distracted. I never want to do that to
I don't
somebody.
either.
I just never want to be the person not there.
No.
And you never know because they're not going to say, "I need you now. Could you put that down?" They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I just go, I'm here for you. I'm here for people.
It is irritating.
And now, there are some lovely plants here, and indeed right there is a philodendron
Yeah.
that might actually have some white in it, which means it's not just any philodendron, it's a pothos plant. It happens to be not a real one, so there are no brown faded leaves or yellow, right? Or is it a real one? No, it's
No,
wax.
it's make believe.
It's make-believe. But this is called, on page 60,
Okay.
but you see how it's sprawling and grows everywhere. A real one
Yeah.
would take over a window, even a room, and in the jungles of Africa where they're from, they do. They're ground row. They cover a lot.
All right, so read another one. We want to
So-
talk about his new books coming out too.
Page 60, it's called My Pothos,
Okay.
and this is a pothos plant.
What's pothos mean? The plant?
It's a plant.
Okay.
It's the name of the plant.
All right.
Yeah, it means the same as philodendron, except a pothos is a philodendron with white in the leaves.
With white in it,
A
okay.
philodendron has just only the green,
All right.
as I recall. But they're related. They're very close. My pothos. Ever green and young, this plant takes over anywhere, in spite of everything I do. I can't decide if it prefers more light and water, or would rather less, the way it sprawls no matter where it's put. Like teenage boys, I guess, who grow all the more, the less you seem to care. Tips often blotch, bend, and turn brown or yellow, but whenever I pinch them off, even more fall down. The whole plant, though, will never die, for green shoots quickly take their place, as if they were part of a plan or master race.
You're very good at studying things and looking at them and taking into the feeling that you get from that. You know what? Have you ever read with children?
Oh, yeah.
Well, because you've got that kind of personality.
Yeah, love kids.
You make it fun.
Yeah.
And they love that.
Yeah.
I wish you'd been around when I was little. Well, we were probably. You were little and I was little.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, now tell us about the new books.
The new book coming out, the next one is going to be called Tower of Babel. And it's poems from the apocalypse.
Tower or town?
Tower.
Tower
as
of Babel.
in the old biblical, or
Yeah.
the 4 paintings by Bruegel of the Tower of Babel, where they built in Babylon. Oh, Babylon.
Yeah.
The Babylon comes from Babel, and some people say Tower of Babel. But for the poem called Tower, which was in Out of Nothing, Poems of Art and Artists, which I believe I did that poem in another interview right here. The Tower of Babel was never able to scratch and scrape the sky. That becomes the title of this new collection about a possible apocalypse, and
Oh.
that's coming up soon, even just in a few months, from another publisher. And then the other one is called Natural Tendencies, which are nature poems, many inspired by Mount Wachusett and Thoreau and a lot of New England things, because I'm from Worcester County. as
You
well.
like nature, don't you?
Love.
Do you hike a lot?
Lots.
Uh-huh. He also was a jogger.
Jog and hike, yeah, and bike when I could bike. But since I went back to New York after taking care of my mom, there's biking acts. They're reckless bikers, and I haven't actually got on the bike for a while. I go, I will. I'll get there.
Did you have the speed that you control with your hand?
Yeah.
I've got the kind that we grew up with. I decided those are back in style now. You brake with your feet.
And that changes the gear. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Brake
like
with your
that.
feet.
This is a little too much for me because
Right.
I don't know why.
Right.
I like the old. You can make the bars go up. You feel really big, bad, and tough.
Yeah.
So that one's coming out in a month or so.
Right, and possibly November is Tower of Babel and Natural Tendencies. We'll see. That
Right.
publisher is behind from COVID. So
All right, you be sure to let us know about
I
this.
will. Yeah, because I always let you know when a new book comes out.
All
Because
right.
I've been on your program once for each book, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
He has.
Yeah.
And did you give one downstairs for the dedicated, or this one's going to go, or which one?
This one will go.
Okay.
This one will go.
All
Or
right.
you read that and give it down when you're done, or
Yeah.
whatever you want to do.
Down in the at Upton Library at the dedicated local authors. So you're still in New York.
I'm still in New
Okay,
York.
and right now you're not doing stage directing.
I'm not stage directing at the moment, right?
He's
and
writing-
might not again, but I'm writing a lot.
He's writing a lot.
Right.
All righty. So what do you got?
Page 89.
Okay.
Remember the nursery rhyme? Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle.
Yep.
The cow jumped over the moon. The dish ran away with the spoon. This is called Spoon and Dish. Should you have laughed so at the cruel sport? Should I have overleapt the horny moon? And what about the other dish and spoon? The ones abandoned that night on a shelf and in a drawer, respectively, to sort the mess out and go on with damaged lives? Does what they did remind you of yourself? At first, they dated other dishes, knives, and forks, but while attractive in their shine, these tended to lie, slice, or even pierce. In time, though, spoon and dish met, became friends, and grew to trust each other with a fine and lasting love. Their exes, playing fierce and fast, twice more divorced, met violent ends.
That's quite a poem. So it's kind of based on maybe people you knew who were in relationships and had a rough time and divorced, and so you've made it to the spoon in the dish.
Right, the spoon and the dish ran away with the spoon.
Gotcha.
Is clearly in nursery rhyme. If you grow up, is that like a soap opera?
No.
Like
Hey, diddle,
adultery?
diddle.
And right, no, it's a nursery rhyme, but it's
Yeah.
the dish ran away with the spoon. What? The dish should go with the dish and the spoon with the spoon. What happened? So I just thought from the dishes and spoons left behind.
When James was walking in here, I was returning a book here to the library, written by Bob Keeshan. He was Captain Kangaroo. And you watched it when you were little, and so did I. And he was on for years.
Right, 23, a wonderful person,
Yeah.
wonderful for kids, and never treated you like a kid.
No.
I was talked to.
So James,
someone-
how can they reach you?
That would be Nicola James B at Juno.com. So NICOLA JAMESB at JUNO.com.
How far are you willing to travel if somebody wants you to come and speak there?
Ohio, Delaware.
Oh,
Maine.
gee, okay, you're all
That's
set in New
right.
England. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. No, I got a car, so I travel
You
and
got
stay
it.
overnight.
Is it your car or a rental?
Mine.
It's yours.
Yeah.
In New York City, where the heck do you park?
In my building, garage.
Oh, they got that thing underneath?
Yeah,
You don't get
garage
scared that somebody could be under there in the dark?
Of course. But it's a crowded building. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people in it, so there's
Okay.
always people around. So it's
Because I see on those crime shows on TV, it's a little bit underlighted and people could get...
smaller cities, and I'm Midtown Manhattan, so it's pretty.
You're right in the thick of it.
I'm right in
Is
the
the
thick of it.
James Theater still there?
Yeah, the St. James.
St. James Theater.
in
That's where
Broadway.
Yul Brynner and Gertrude Loris
Did The
opened up
King
with
and
The
I in
King
the
and I.
fif- 1950s.
You know, she's buried here in Upton.
You mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah.
that's
All
it.
righty, go for it.
Right. Moving to page 111. 111. And now this is the part 3, and it's a little bit more of, there's some poems of love and poems of death. And so we're getting to the end of the book. Whether or not. The morning thrush and lark, which greet the dawn or make it, Sing no matter who is there to hear. When that resilience is gone and nature herself starts to disappear, another coming will be underway where souls of things and beings shall impart new traits to old forms to attend the day song. Air shall grow ears, soil assume a heart, tongues, noses, fingertips, and eyes shall be affixed to blades, leaves, lakes, fluorescences, clouds, mist, that all, in all humility, shall listen, taste, feel, savor all that is, and its anthem, the morning call of birds, long after you and I are gone, and words.
This is another one that makes me feel like the trajectory is, are you really concerned about us not being here anymore?
Well, the day's going to come, if
You
it's
think?
trillions of years from now,
Yeah.
that the Earth is not going to be in the sun of the solar system. There'll be the day long after, but there's still going to be something. There's still going to be something. The universe isn't going anywhere.
You don't think it is?
Even with that's the thing interesting about chaos theory. If the universe is expanding, it's going to dissolve. If it's contracting, it's going to implode.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it dissolves, something will replace it. If it whatever, something's coming out the other end. And now that we know about antimatter and the other dimensions, even science is saying it's not. There's something is going to come after. It just might not be. This book might not exist one day. It will exist in 100 years on some library shelf, as Shakespeare exists today, and Sappho even from 3,000 years ago exists. But the more
We got about 3 minutes. Go for another one.
this is the last poem, or almost the last poem in the book, and this is inspired by all various and sundry things from New England existence, and cemeteries, walking through cemeteries and picturing the lives of the people coming back. This is called Balm of Innocence. When I come back, I'll come back as a tear on the cold cheek of a sensitive gray maid, to salve the once soft skin now growing sere, where good men's tepid lips have been indelibly delayed. The next time I come back, I'll find the face of a birthday boy whose sporty father's gone. I'll wait with him beneath the dark staircase till midnight by the front door and the aching unrung phone. Right now, though, it's your stillness I accept, your silent howl, for I have come to lend an ear, if not the tear you sorely lack, the balm of innocence. Or if you've slept horrendously and do not want a friend just yet, I'll go. Then later, if you wish, I'll come back. That's my prayer for all of you out there, and for you. I'll come back.
Yeah.
When you need me, I'll come back.
You leave me speechless. It's just like, your poems are deep, and yet at the same time, they're simply, I don't know how to say it. You say it in a way that the imagination goes along with it and gets it as it goes. I don't want to say it's simplistic, but it does make you think.
Huge and small is what we try for. Special and casual.
Yeah.
Devastating, but cosmic and specific.
All right.
That's sort of some of those things we try. Mary Oliver's particularly huge, and it's about the rock or the beach or the leaf.
Turns and twists. Okay. And it's going to let us know when the new ones come out. Unbelievable.
And thank you so much for having me,
Oh,
Jan.
you're welcome.
Enjoy
Don't forget to get this. So they can get this. Can they get this on AOL? I'm not in.
Amazon.
Yeah.
No, these are like my other one called Quickening is published by cyberwit.net.
Okay.
But just shoot me an email. I'll give you all the information and let you know when I've updated my website. This isn't on the website yet because it's brand new.
When's the next time you're going to be up in Massachusetts?
In a month.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Let's get them scheduled then.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Wonderful.
I'll be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.